Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. Determining the value of your trading. What's it worth to you? I just did a video on opportunity, lost cost of opportunity of not trading. But what's the value of the actual trading when you get it right? The first goal to ask yourself is, how much do you need to make through your trading in order for the whole process to be worth it to you? I'm going to put that down because I'll get flapping my hands and it'll go all over the place. I doused myself one other time. What are you trying to make? Well, I mean, you're probably in there with $500 or a couple of $1,000, or maybe you're a little more experienced. You got $10,000 in there, maybe up to $20,000 or $30,000. What are you trying to do? How much money are you trying to make? You absolutely, positively have to know that in order to set the plan for that. If you were going to drive down to the grocery store, you'd just make sure that you had enough gas to get to the grocery store. But if you were going to drive like Sue and I did last weekend, we drove from the Lakes region of New Hampshire down to westerly Rhode Island, and spent the weekend down there. Went to Sean Colvin was in concert, so we went to a concert with her. We went out to dinner a couple of nights to some really great places and drove around. Well, in planning that trip, we had a higher expectation of the value of that trip than if I was just driving to the grocery store. And because I was going to go further, there were other considerations that I had to make that I wouldn't have to make if I was going to the grocery store. So if you're looking to make a couple of $3,000 a year from your trading, then I'm not the person that you want to listen to. I could teach you how to do that, but it wouldn't be cost effective for you to pay me to teach you how to do that. You can learn how to do that on Baby Pips or a lot of these other courses and stuff that you can buy for $500 or whatever you're going to be doing. You learn what a pip is and a Bollinger Band, and if you probably won't get it right, but 90% of the traders lose 90% of their money very quickly. That's the statistic that you're facing. And the reason for that, and I understand this clearly because I'm an educator. I've taught karate for over 50 years. I got a degree in physics. Real estate investment. I've taught real estate investment. I've taught computer programming. I was a software engineer for 33 years. I understand the educational process, and I understand after losing $40,000 when I got started doing this, because I went to those educational resources. Some of them are valid and good, but their process is not duplicatable because they're teaching you how to do something. They're not teaching you how to trade. And so I lost $40,000. And I stepped back from that. What's the problem here? Well, it was the education. So I went back to my own expertise as an educator, and in 15 minutes figured out what I was doing wrong, took my remaining $5,000 in the account and doubled that in about 4.5 months, and have been successful ever since. Now, I'm not trading to pay my late bill. I'm trading to duplicate making $1 million as I have been able to make in real estate. And so my end process is a little bit different. My risk management is a little bit different than what I would teach someone who's looking to replace their job income, for example. And those are the folks that I work with, the people that are looking to replace their job income or at least significantly impact that level. You know, when I was working as a software engineer, I never worked in fear. I love the work, but sometimes you come in conflict with the people that are there, particularly in software engineering, where you have salesmen that are not technically oriented, promising a customer an enhancement to an application that we wrote for them, and then they'll come back and they'll tell the guy, oh yeah, we can have that in 3 weeks for you, and then they'll come back and say, well, here's the scope of the work that we need you to do. Well, that's about that's about a 3-month project, not a 3-week project, and they don't want to hear that. And so then the shit goes to the fan, and you're working 80 hours a week. I never participated in any of that horse shit. Because I had my real estate, and it was throwing off enough cash early on, I might have only replaced a fourth of my income or whatever, but it was a fourth of my income. And then it became half of my income, and then it became a pretty significant part of the income, and then my income jumped as I became a senior engineer and all that other sort of stuff. But I didn't need over $100,000 a year to live, because I was always very aware of what I was spending my money on. I wasn't stupid. And so my spending was in line with normal living. I lived in nice places, all that sort of thing. But I didn't need $100,000 to live. And I had 2 kids, and we'd take them to Disney World, every other year or every 3 years or so, and that's $4,000 or $5,000 back then to go there for a week. But I was never in fear of losing my job because I had significant income that would carry me through. And as a software engineer, you get laid off every now and then, and all that other sort of stuff, and you go without work for 2 months or 3 months. My average time out of work was probably about 3 months. And I always had enough money in reserve, plus enough money coming in from my real estate, that I had a long time frame when I had buffer income for that. What money I needed to make and to have in order to live the life that I wanted to live. And that's the question that I'm asking you. From your trading, you're not trading for shits and grins. You read a book for shits and grins. You go to the movie for shits and grins. But you don't fucking do currency trading for shits and grins. You do it to make money. If you're looking to make $3,000 a year, then your income is probably $20,000 or $30,000. Because you can't envision making any more money than that. Oh, these fools out there say, oh yeah, you can take $500, you can run that to $3,000, no problem in 6 months. You're taking too much risk for that, and that's where the 90% of the people fail, because they listen to bullshit like that. Somebody telling you can trade at 100 or 200 to 1, or some assholes at 500 to 1 in somewhere. If you are believing those things and you're unrealistic in how you're managing stuff, I'm not the person that you want to email or call on the phone, because I will tell you clearly where you're going to fail and why. And I get people that do that, and I tell them, you're doing this wrong, you're thinking about this incorrectly. I mean, there's no polite way to say that. Oh, I don't mean to hurt your feelings or anything, but... And so they get pissed off at me, and they unsubscribe from my channel, and I don't care, because I'm not selling courses. I'm not selling consulting. I'm trading. And if somebody would like to learn what I'm doing, that's great. Send me an email, we can chat back and forth. But if you want to do, if you want me to help you learn how to trade effectively, then your goal has to be bigger than making $3,000 a year. $3,000 a year isn't going to change your lifestyle, unless, like I said, you're making minimum wage to $15 an hour. That's about $30,000 a year if you're working full-time. And if you're making minimum wage, you're probably not working full-time, because they're not paying you for 40-hour a week. They're only giving you maybe 25 or 30 hours, so they don't have to give you benefits and consider you a full-time employee, and all the other horseshit that you know very well is going on out there. But if you're a straight-time job at $15 an hour, that's 30 grand a year. Now, I don't know where you live in the world right now. Maybe $15 an hour is twice what your minimum wage is, or 3 times your minimum wage. I can't help you with that. I can teach you the skills so that whatever the percentage is, in our money, maybe you're making $5,000 a year, USD, value in your country, $5,000 a year is like our maybe $30,000 a year minimum wage routine, or $20,000 a year, or poverty level $12,500. But in your country, that $5,000 here is maybe at that $20,000 USD level. I have the skills to teach you how to develop the percentage. If you're making the equivalent of $5,000 and you can live on that, then it would be really handy to be able to say, I could make 20% more than that through my, or 20% of that. So you learn how to make $1,000 off your trading to supplement your $5,000 in income. That's going to go a long way for you. So it's 20% of your income. So if you're making $100,000 a year, is $20,000 going to impact your job? Well, and that's 20%. Is your boss going to give you a 20% raise? What are you going to have to do to make $20,000? You might say, "Oh, I'm making $100,000 a year. What's $20,000? I don't know. What if you're making $200,000 a year? What's 20% of that? $40,000 a year? A lot of people don't make $40,000 a year, but $40,000 a year on a $200,000 income is still 20%. How tough is it to make 20%? It's not too tough at all. In fact, I can go through the math with you, and we can talk about ratios and all that other kind of stuff. But you're the one that has to determine how much you need to make, what's your goal, what's your target, so that if you come to somebody like me, I can say, okay, here's the structure of how you properly learn trading. And how this is how you can manage these pieces so that you can get to $20,000 a year, or $50,000 a year, or $80,000, or $300,000 a year. It depends on the size of your bank and your skill. Those are the two things that are under consideration. If you don't have a large enough bank, let's say you're making $20,000 a year, but you want to make $40,000 a year, because you know that's possible if you have enough money, but you also have to have the skill. So as long as your goal is to make $30,000 or more USD, or whatever that percentage is in your own currency, then my program could help you solve that issue. If it's less than that, if you're just getting into currencies and you think you're going to take your $500 and you're going to double that every 4 months, so you're going to double that 3 times, so you get $500 doubled 3 times, and you go to 1,000, you go to 2,000, you go to 4,000, so you make $4,000 a year on your $500, and then you try to take the 4,000 and do that doubling again, and you end up losing 15,000. So I mean, I don't have time for that, and you're not going to be willing to pay me the money to learn how to do it right anyway, and so that's why I don't have very many subscribers, and I don't teach very many people. My time is more valuable to me than trying to drag somebody across the finish line that's complaining and bitching that they don't have XYZ. If you were trying to be a building contractor, you'd need to buy a big truck to haul all this stuff, right? Well, a truck that you're going to need for that particular kind of work, right now in the United States, you're probably looking at between $60,000 and $80,000. Oh, I don't have $60,000. I can't buy that truck. Well, then you can't be a building contractor. I can teach you the skills of how to do the building, but I can't get you to buy the truck. That's your problem. I can teach you the skills. So maybe the only thing you're capable of doing is using your personal car to transport stuff. Well, instead of going out and saying you're a house building contractor, why don't you say, I'm going to fix your deck. I'm an expert at deck replacement. You could use your personal car for that. And as you get more skill and you make more money and you invest your money wisely and bring it up, eventually you'll have enough money to make a down payment on a truck and then to make the monthly payments on it. You're going to have to do the same thing in currency trading. That doesn't mean you have to change your goals. Oh, I don't have any money, so I'm only going to make be able to make $3,000 a year. No. Today you could only make $3,000 a year. But as you develop those skills, as you gain money to be able to apply to that, why can't you make $30,000 a year? And that's really what my program is designed around. And when I work with someone or I talk with someone about how we're going to go about teaching the skills from all the information and stuff that's out there, teaching you the skills that you're going to need to go from wherever you are right now today to a situation where you have the skills to be able to make the $30,000, and you know how big your bank is and what your win-to-loss ratio, your average per trade value, win value is, your per trade expectation value. You know what your general metrics, because we've worked with that over a course of period of time in consulting, because you're going to work with me. I'm not just going to sell you a book. I don't have any books to sell. I have manuals. You have to be able to know how to read. There's 400 pages in the main course. But just selling a book or a manual isn't going to teach you. That's the problem with these guys that are selling $500 courses and $1,000 courses. They send you a manual. Here, I explained it all. The only way they are explaining it is the way that they see it. They can't explain it the way that you see it, because everybody's unique and different, has their own skills, their own learning methodology. You have to get on a video conference with someone or meet with them across the desk. So who are you? What are you trying to do? And why are you trying to do it that way? That's what a mentor or a consultant or someone who knows what they're doing and has a course is going to be able to work with you so that you can develop the skills necessary to replace your job income. And I don't care whether you're at $30,000 a year or $300,000 a year. If you have the sufficient capital and you understand these skills, and you can take $1,000 and you can make 40 to 60% profit on that $1,000, there's no reason why you can't take those same skills and, given enough money, make $100,000 a year. Trading is simple. What's difficult is learning how to filter out all the clutter around you so that you get to the heart of the thing. And the first problem you need to get to, if you're going to work with me, and I'll sit down and I'll work with you on this. How much money do you need to make? You know, if that's around that $30,000 level or whatever that comfortable, I mean, $30,000 level is our minimum wage multiplied by 2,000 hours. That's the work year. So in your own currency, in your own country where you're living, if you take whatever your minimum wage and you grind through that and you work out what the yearly salary is, figure out what 40% of that is, or 60%. Wouldn't that be a great thing to be able to do in trading? And then you can call me up, or nobody calls me. You send me an email. There's so much fake stuff going on in the world out there. I have central focus of contact to me, and it's only through an email. I don't take any calls from anybody, nothing. You contact me with email, I contact back with you, and there's certain things that we're able to establish from a trust standpoint, and I'll be happy to say, okay, I understand that you don't need to make $30,000. You need to make $6,000 or $8,000 in order to accomplish the same thing. So from a percentage standpoint, I can teach you that. I can't teach you that for $500, and I'm not going to teach you that for $500. You have to come up with the value of the course in USD in order for me to work with you, because I live in the USD. I will try to help you out the best that I can through email and put you on the right track. Show you where you need to go out and get other information. I can show you what to do And some instances I can take individual problems and I can show you how to solve those problems, but I can't show you or teach you when to do that, because that when has to be taken within the context of the overall solution process of the currency position. When do I do this? When do I do this? And when do I do this? It's easy to say what to do. Oh, I'm in entry analysis. What do I need to do? Oh, you need to push bid ask. Great. You're in position management. What do you need to do? Oh, I'm going to stage in another lot. Oh, okay. That's what you do. When do you do it? And how exactly do you do it? Do you stage 3 lots and then 2 and then 1? Or do you stage 1, 2, and 3? And do they go 5 pips apart or 25 pips apart? What is that? So I can take an individual piece of that and I can say, well, you might want to try this. But I can't show you the whole thing. I mean, I have a whole, the last course, Advanced Solutions, half the book talks about large-scale lot size integration into the life cycle of a currency position. How do you go from trading 2, 3, 4, 5 lots to trading 20 lots? You have to be taught how to do that, because if you don't get it right, it'll all go to crap. So even though you may only need to make or want to make $30,000, the training that I'm giving you is going to give you the ability to extend that. Now, if you do a fast track program or something with me, I'm not going to get involved in all that stuff, because the fast track program doesn't cost as much as the longer term thing. I don't need to work with you for long enough. I just need to get you on the right track. I need to get you on the right path. And that path needs to cover entry analysis, position management, and exit methodology. And that's what fast track does. Now, this is all again dependent on you determining how much you need to make and whether you see value in what I'm doing. If you don't see that value is there, then look at other folks that are teaching and doing valid programs and see if they can offer the same kind of structured learning as I can. And I'm very open with folks. I've got very detailed descriptions of what goes on in each one of the 4 courses that make up the LCT Longwood Currency Trading FOREX trading program. It goes over that. I've got I discuss with someone who's talking with me about how this stuff in a very high level fits together, and to talk with you about, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? How long do you want to take in order to do this? You know, the timing difference of learning is different for someone who's 24 years old than it would be for someone who's 44 years old. The problems are different. Your life experience is different, and so that has to be taken into consideration in the trading. But the first thing you need to know, if you're going to call or email me to try to have me look at what you're doing, is you got to give me an idea. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to make as a yearly result to justify the time that you're spending at it? If you're trying to make $3,000, then I'll be happy to help you, but it can only be those specific solution issues. I can't help you with this large-scale thing because you're not going to be willing to pay me the money for a full course. I mean, that's just the way it is. This is like that guy that wants to build houses, but he doesn't have a truck. Doesn't have the $60,000 truck to haul the material that he needs to haul. So if you're thinking about getting into trading, figure out how much money ultimately you'd like to make. And you can't sit there and say, oh, I'd like to make $400,000. If you're making $25,000 today or $40,000 today and you want to make $400,000, let's get realistic. How about if we just learn how to pay the light bill first? But ultimately, what would be your goal? If it's to make $1 million, well, great. Then you can take those skills and you can migrate those forward. But you're not going to come to the table with $3 million of capital to make 30% on that and make $1 million a year, because you're not going to have the skills to trade those large values and numbers. You're gonna lose half your money very quickly. it's all about identifying where you want to get to and then dry labbing your way back to get to the base of information and skills that you need to have to get to this step, which will take you to this step, to this step. Instead of looking at this big blur of information that's out here and trying to go into the here, and I'm going to learn how to do this, and then I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to learn how to do this. How do you put all that shit together? Well, you don't. Unfortunately, you don't. I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, again, feel free to send me an email. At this particular time, I'm allowing comments in my videos because I'm not inundated by these scammers and people with my picture and DM me and WhatsApp me and all this other kind of crap. So I'll be happy to help you out briefly in a comment if you'd like to do that. But the way to really get a hold of me will be through email, and we'll just chat back and forth and see if I can help you out. If I can help you without having to charge you any money, that would be great for me, because my time is more valuable than any amount of money that you could pay me. And whether you trust me on that or not, because everybody says that, is immaterial to me, because I've taken a lot of people and told them I can't work with them or I won't work with them because they're just not in the right place in their lives to have me want to fight with you all the way through to learn currency trading. Go learn how to swim. It's probably a more practical skill. But if you'd like to learn how to make replacement income for your job, then I might be able to help you out. In fact, if you go through my video library, you can pick out a lot of really helpful ideas as to how to structure your trading plan so that you're not losing your money faster than you're making it. Okay, I gotta get back to my coffee because it's getting cold. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.